She expected you to crumble the moment she walked away. She was so sure you'd come running after her, begging her to stay. What she never saw coming was how your silence would turn her world upside down. In the quiet aftermath, she's left with one burning question. Why aren't you fighting for me? The absence of your reaction isn't just confusing, it's consuming her with doubt. Every day, you remain silent. Her curiosity and regret grow stronger. This is the story of how a man transformed heartbreak into power, how walking away and focusing on himself became the ultimate victory. It's a journey of rising from the ashes, where the last laugh belongs to the stoic. What if I told you that the most powerful response to betrayal isn't revenge or pleading? It's no response at all. Not anger, not begging, not even an explanation. Just silence. Silence isn't nothing. In fact, silence is full of answers. It forces her to sit alone with the weight of her own choices, and that weight can become unbearable. A man once loved a woman deeply. He gave her his heart, his time, his energy. Then one day, without warning, she walked away. Maybe she got bored. Maybe she thought she could do better. Maybe she was certain he'd always be there waiting. But she never came next. Most men in his shoes would panic. They'd lash out or plead desperately for her to return, drowning in their emotions. And if he had done that, she would have felt powerful, because control is something you surrender when you overreact. But this man was different. He chose a weapon more devastating than any insult or outburst. He chose silence. In that single moment, he flipped the entire script. He took back everything she thought she controlled. Silence is not weakness. It's a power so strong it makes the guilty conscience crumble under its own weight. Mastering it means you'll never need to chase anyone for closure or validation. You won't have to explain yourself, because your absence will say everything that needs to be said. When you perfect the art of staying silent and composed, you take away the only thing she was counting on, your emotional reaction. If you're ready to reclaim that power, remember this mantra. Silence is my power. 1. The art of emotional control. Emotions can be the chains that keep a man enslaved. The moment you let your feelings run wild and control you, you become predictable, weak, and easily manipulated. She expects you to react, to get angry, to act desperate, maybe even to show hatred, because as long as you react, she knows she still matters to you. But the second you stop, the second you remain calm and unbothered, the power dynamic shifts completely in your favor. Imagine this. She walks away expecting you will chase after her. She waits for the frantic text messages, the late-night calls, the emotional outburst. Maybe she even posts something on social media aimed at provoking you, fully expecting a response. But all she gets is silence. No pleading, no explanations, no attempt to win her back. Just a void where your attention used to be, and that void will start to haunt her. When someone anticipates an emotional explosion and instead gets nothing, they begin to question everything. Did I ever matter to him? Did he ever really love me? Why isn't he broken by this? The moment you refuse to react, you plant a seed of doubt in her mind. With each day of your silence, that doubt grows stronger. Understand this: reactivity is weakness. If you explode in anger or break down begging, you're handing her the playbook to your emotions. You're showing exactly how to pull your strings. But emotional control, that's true dominance. The man who cannot be provoked cannot be broken. The man who refuses to be manipulated forces the world to adjust to him. Anger is easy. Begging is weak. Even insults or revenge still show you care enough to respond. But silence? Silence is terrifying because silence is the absence of any validation, and validation is what she craves most. She needs to know she mattered, that she had an impact, that you're lost without her. When you show nothing, when you move forward as if she never existed, it's like erasing her influence from your life. That is a kind of pain most people aren't equipped to handle. This is where many men fail. They cut off contact, but secretly lurk in the shadows, still hoping she'll return. That's not power. That's just hidden attachment. True emotional control means you don't just go no contact. You stop caring. You become genuinely indifferent. You carry on with purpose, discipline, and focus, without hesitation and without regret. You don't need closure, because you've closed that chapter yourself. Master yourself, and you master the situation. You become untouchable, unreadable, a force that can't be manipulated. And in that moment, she feels it. The power she once had over you is completely gone. If you're ready to take back control of your emotions, claim it now. I am untouchable. 2. The law of reverse psychology. Human nature has a funny way of desiring what it cannot have. The more available something, or someone, is, the less valuable it seems. This is why desperation repels and indifference attracts. The moment you stop chasing her, you force her to wonder why. The moment you refuse to engage with her games, you stir an unexpected curiosity in her. And when you disappear from her life completely, you may just become an obsession in her mind. She walked away thinking you'd fight for her. She thought you'd crumble without her. But you did the exact opposite. You vanished. Now her mind is left to wander in the silence. Why hasn't he called? Did I mean so little to him? Is he with someone else already? She expected anger or tears, some sign that you were devastated. What she never prepared for was utter silence. Silence is powerful because it forces the other person to fill in the blanks themselves. And the truth is, the human mind is cruelly imaginative. In the quiet left behind, she isn't picturing you lonely and broken. No, she's starting to imagine you thriving without her. When you don't reach out, her thoughts will conjure up images of you leveling up in life, hitting the gym, advancing your career, enjoying new company. She'll wonder if you ever cared at all, or if she wildly miscalculated her importance to you. The power she believed she had over you, it's evaporating, and she can feel that. Here's the kicker. If you handle this right, you won't just make her doubt, you'll make her regret. Perhaps she catches a glimpse of you one day, and you look better than ever. Relaxed, confident, genuinely happy. Maybe a mutual friend mentions in passing how well you've been doing. She might even hear that another woman has caught your interest. Suddenly, she's the one who feels discarded. This is the law of reverse psychology at work. By doing the opposite of what she expects, not chasing, not caring, you flip her expectations upside down. She thought she was the prize you were trying to win, but by walking away decisively, you become the prize she realizes she lost. You are no longer the man begging at her door. You're the man she wishes she hadn't pushed away. And that realization is brutal for her. Most men would beg for closure or try to get one last conversation to explain their feelings. They want her to understand how much she hurt them. But here's the truth. Your silence does all the work for you. No carefully crafted message, no dramatic confrontation can match the impact of you not giving her any of your energy. Walking away without a second glance is more powerful than 1,000 words. Once you understand this, you will never chase again, because you'll see that the moment you become unavailable, you become irresistible in a strange way. If you're ready to turn the tables and let her feel the loss, live by this truth. My silence makes them question everything. 3. The rebirth through pain. Pain is inevitable in life, but suffering is a choice. When most men get their hearts broken, they let the pain consume them. They spiral into despair, replaying every moment and wondering what they did wrong. They drown in regret and let the weight of the loss crush them completely. They stop taking care of themselves, skip meals, skip workouts, neglect their goals. They sit alone in the dark, staring at a phone that never lights up with her message, and let each day bleed into the next. This is the path of least resistance, letting pain have the last word. But the men who rise from heartbreak, the ones who become truly unbreakable, choose a different path. They use pain as fuel. They don't run from it or numb it. They embrace it, harness it, and transform it into strength. Your true power is forged not in easy, happy times, but in the fires of adversity. This harsh experience can become the very thing that makes you stronger than ever before. Understand, she expected you to break. In fact, she might secretly hope you'll never get over her, because as long as you're broken, she holds some power. She imagines you miserable, pining away forever, and in that scenario, she's still in control. But instead of breaking, you did something she didn't foresee. You took that pain and made yourself unstoppable with it. The sleepless nights? You spent them grinding, working on your projects, honing your skills, planning your next move. The anger and frustration? You pounded them out in the gym, every bead of sweat a testament to your resilience. The sense of loss? You turned it into discipline, a drive to never feel that kind of helplessness again. Every second you waste thinking about her is a second stolen from the man you're trying to become. So you stopped giving her those seconds, and you started investing them in yourself. It's common for hurt men to fantasize about revenge, about proving to her that she made a mistake. They say to themselves, "I'll show her what she lost," and focus on winning in life just to impress or spite her. But think carefully. That mindset is still revolving around her. If everything you do is to make her notice, then she's still at the center of your actions. That means you still care, and you're still seeking validation from the very person who hurt you. As long as she occupies space in your mind and dictates your choices, you are not truly free. Real strength is not about proving anything to her. It's about proving everything to yourself. It's about waking up each morning and working to become a man who doesn't need to be validated by anyone, especially not by someone who left. It's about knowing deep down that you're going to be okay regardless of what she or anyone else thinks. This is the shift that separates the weak from the powerful. Weak men stay down, hoping someday she'll see their worth. Powerful men rise up, so high that by the time she even thinks to check on them, she can barely recognize the person he's become. Because when you commit to genuine growth, not for her, not for anyone else, but for you, you become truly untouchable. You elevate every aspect of your life. And one day, if she happens to see the man you've turned into, she will realize the man she left doesn't exist anymore. It will be far too late. Not that it matters, because your transformation was never about her in the first place. It's about reclaiming yourself. Remember this, growth is the best revenge. Not petty social media posts, not bragging about new dates, and not staged displays of success. The real revenge is that you've grown into someone beyond her reach, someone who makes her feel like a stranger. She expected you to suffer. Instead, you used that suffering to reinvent yourself. In an ironic way, heartbreak was a gift. It forced you to build a foundation for your life that no one else can ever shake. It taught you that you never needed her to be whole. When you stop looking back, when you stop waiting for any sign of remorse from her, you truly win. Why? Because at that point, it genuinely doesn't matter anymore. Her regret, or lack of it, isn't your victory. Your transformation is. The real victory is becoming a man who has no space in his heart for someone who left it in pieces. This is your rebirth. This is where you stop being a man controlled by his emotions and become a man who controls his destiny. No more sorrow, no more weakness, no more waiting. You rise from the ashes of heartbreak with a fire in your belly to build a better life. If you're ready to turn your pain into power, say it loud. Pain fuels my evolution. 4. The attraction of detachment. There is nothing more magnetic than a man who stands on his own, needing nothing from anyone. A man who is truly at peace with himself, who doesn't seek validation or approval, exudes a quiet confidence that draws others in effortlessly. Detachment isn't about becoming cold or shutting off your feelings. It's about realizing that clinging, chasing, and begging are weaknesses that push people away. The moment you sincerely stop caring about what she's doing, who she's seeing, or whether she ever regrets leaving you, is the moment her attention is likely to start drifting back toward you. Why is that? Because people want what they can't have, and nothing is more alluring than something or someone that doesn't need us. As long as you were chasing her, she kept running. The more you tried to convince her of your worth, the less she valued you. But when you step back and genuinely let go, the energy shifts. Suddenly, you're not broadcasting neediness. You're radiating self-sufficiency. She's going to notice that change. Why is he so unfazed? Why isn't he trying to get me back? The fact that you're no longer trying is what grabs her attention. Your absence of any pursuit becomes intriguing, even confusing to her. Detachment is a subtle power. It's the ability to walk away from anything that no longer serves you, and to do it with zero hesitation and zero regret. It means your emotions are not tied up in her anymore. You're no longer dependent on her responses or actions to feel okay, and that, make no mistake, is an incredibly attractive trait in a man. When you truly do not need someone, it allows you to be confident, to move with purpose, and to act on your own terms. You're not easily swayed or controlled because your happiness isn't dangling at the end of someone else's string. Now, a lot of guys try to fake this detachment, and it usually shows. Maybe you've seen it. The guy who pretends he doesn't care, but is constantly checking if she's noticed how great he's doing. He might post pictures on Instagram with new girls, or show off a new car, or constantly talk about his awesome life, all in hopes that word will get back to her. That's not true detachment. That's noisy compensation for pain. Real detachment isn't boastful. It's quiet and calm. It's the peace in your face when you're alone. It's the genuine smile you have that isn't for show. When you no longer feel the urge to prove anything to her or to the world, that's when you've already won internally. Think of the most powerful figures in history, or even in your own life. The ones who command respect effortlessly. They're never the ones chasing others for approval. Whether it was a king, a renowned warrior, or a wise philosopher, these men moved through life with a sense of inner worth. They didn't beg to be respected. They simply were, and others recognized it. They could lead armies or influence people because they carried themselves with self-assurance. That is the energy you are cultivating now. You are becoming the man who does not need to chase or convince. You're building a life where you set your own value. And here lies a great paradox. The moment you truly stop caring about whether or not she ever regrets what she did is often the moment she will. Why? Because that's when she feels the shift completely. The tether she thought would always connect to your heart has been severed. Suddenly, she's the one wondering and longing, not you. So break free from any lingering attachment. Stop checking your phone, hoping for a message. Stop wondering if she's thinking about you. Focus entirely on your mission, your goals, your health, your career, your passions. Every step you take forward is a step away from the old needy version of you. If someday she looks back in regret, it's irrelevant. You'll be so far ahead on your own path that you won't even notice. A man who needs nothing attracts everything. Why? Because he operates from a place of strength and contentment, and that is irresistibly compelling. Once you internalize that, you become the kind of man people gravitate toward, including women like her. It's ironic, but by the time she feels drawn in by your detachment, you may not even care that she notices. Embrace this principle fully and remind yourself, I attract everything by needing nothing. 5. The cold shoulder effect. Silence when you're apart is one thing. But what about when you inevitably see her again? There may come a day, perhaps weeks or months down the line, when your paths cross. Maybe you'll run into each other by accident. Or maybe she'll deliberately reach out just to say hi. How you handle that moment is men crack under this pressure. The instant they see her face or get that text, old emotions flare up. They either scramble and come on too strong, or they freeze and stumble. Imagine you see her across a room. Some guys might avoid eye contact and slip away, hoping to dodge the interaction out of fear. Others might overcorrect, laughing too loud, acting overly happy, or showing off, trying to prove how great they're doing. Both reactions give you away. Both show that she still affects you, either through fear or through an overeager need to seem fine. The man who's mastered the cold shoulder effect does something different. He remains steady. He neither runs nor chases. If her eyes meet his, he can offer a polite nod or a slight smile, the kind you'd give to an acquaintance. If she comes over to talk, he might exchange a few casual words. If she asks how he's been, he might simply say, "Good. Life's been treating me well," and leave it at that. His tone is courteous but distant, calm but not particularly interested. There's no flash of hurt in his eyes, but also no spark of longing or excitement. He treats her just like he would treat anyone else. Do you know what message that sends? It says, "You're not special to me anymore." And that message is devastating to someone who expects to be either worshipped or hated. She was bracing for one of two things. Either that you'd still be bitter and angry, or that you'd be overly eager and happy to reconnect. She wasn't prepared for neutral. Neutral, to her, feels colder than outright hatred. It says you've emotionally checked out. Picture this scenario. She decides to test the waters by sending you a friendly text one evening. "Hey, it's been a while. How are you?" Something casual. In the past, you might have jumped to reply, heart racing, unsure of what to say. But now, you take your time. Maybe you even decide not to respond at all, if that's best for you. But if you do respond, it's something short and uncomplicated. "I'm doing well. Hope you are too." That's it. No pouring out your feelings. No asking to meet up. Not even a hint of reminiscing. You keep it brief and polite. On her end, that response lands with a thud. It's not what she expected. There's no validation for her. No evidence of heartbreak or yearning or even irritation. You gave her nothing to latch onto. Now she's left puzzled and, frankly, a bit alarmed. Did I really mean so little to him that he can act this casual? Has he moved on completely? Those questions will eat at her. For perhaps the first time, she's the one feeling insecure and seeking your approval. The roles are completely reversed. She's analyzing every word you said or didn't say, reading into your neutral tone, trying to find any sign that you still care, and she finds none. The power of the cold shoulder is that it forces her to confront a harsh reality. She has no influence over you anymore. When you encountered her, you didn't scowl and cause a scene, but you also didn't light up like a puppy seeing its owner. You were just fine, indifferent. To someone who used to command your emotions, that is the hardest blow of all. The key here is that you're not doing this as an act or some calculated performance. You genuinely feel this way because you've done the work on yourself in the earlier stages. You truly are doing fine without her. So giving her the cold shoulder, meaning not giving her special treatment, comes naturally. It's not about being rude or petty. You're still polite. But you're giving her the same courtesy you'd give a stranger, nothing more. And trust me, that speaks volumes. She will remember the man who once would move mountains to see her smile, and she'll see the man in front of her now who treats her like a distant memory. That contrast will hit her like a ton of bricks. She will finally feel the loss, not because you tried to make her feel it, but because you truly moved on. In these moments, let your actions or lack of reaction do the talking. You owe her nothing, not anger, not affection, not an explanation. Sometimes I speak loudest when I say nothing. 6. The return of the one who left. Here's an almost universal truth in these situations. They always come back. Maybe not right away, maybe not for months or longer, but one day, often when you least expect it, you'll hear from her. It's almost ironic. When you finally let go and her memory isn't painful anymore, that's usually when a message pops up. Hey, I've been thinking about you. Whether out of curiosity, regret, or just boredom, there's a good chance she'll test the door she slammed shut. And when she does, you must remember that nothing has changed about who she is or what happened. Only you have changed. By now, you've rebuilt yourself into something greater, and your silence has spoken louder than any words could. When she reaches back out, you have one job. Make sure she knows she no longer matters in your life. This is where many men stumble and undo their progress. The moment she comes back, they get excited. Their heart races with hope. She wants me again. This is my chance. They eagerly respond to her messages within seconds. They may agree to meet up right away, heart in hand, effectively saying, "I've been waiting for this." They let her slide right back in, as if all the hurt she caused simply vanished. In doing so, they give all the power straight back to her. All that growth, all that hard-earned confidence, gone in an instant of weakness. Don't fall for it. Ask yourself, why is she really coming back? It's tempting to believe it's because she woke up one morning and realized you're the best thing that ever happened to her. But the truth is usually less romantic. Often, she's coming back to test if she still can. Maybe things didn't go as she planned in her life. Maybe the new guy didn't turn out so great, or single life isn't as fun as she hoped. She's likely curious. Are you still there pining for her? Can she still have you if she wants you? It's a power check, not some retail change of heart. The evolved man, the man you've been working on becoming, will see this clearly. When she returns, he doesn't jump for joy or feel validated. Instead, he remains calm and analytical. He might respond, but he takes his time. He definitely doesn't drop everything to accommodate her. Perhaps he'll agree to talk, or perhaps he decides it's not even worth it. Either way, he keeps his emotions in check. If he does meet her or chat with her, he does so like a man who's in control of his choices and his feelings. One thing is certain, he will not let her think that her return is the best thing that's happened to him. He will not give her the satisfaction of thinking she was the missing piece of his happiness. No. At most, she gets a cordial welcome like any old friend might, nothing more. By handling it this way, you effectively shatter her ego. She might have imagined this grand scenario where she reaches out and you drop everything for her, proving she still has it. Instead, you're treating her like an old acquaintance. It's not resentment. It's not love. It's just mild, polite interest. To her, that can feel worse than anger. It's easy to dismiss someone's anger as hurt feelings, but it's hard to dismiss being dismissed. That's essentially what you're doing by not showing strong emotion. You're politely dismissing her importance. Think of it like this. She was once the center of your world. Now, she's just another name in your contacts list. How could that not sting? It will. Realizing that someone who once adored you has now forgotten you, or at least acts like it, is a bitter pill to swallow. There is almost nothing more painful to the ego than feeling irrelevant to a person you expected would love you forever. Also, consider her mindset. When she left, she likely thought she was the prize. She assumed you'd always be available if she changed her mind. Now, she's discovering that's not true at all. The tables have turned. You are the prize now. You have options: a full life and self-respect. In coming back, she's just one of the many people vying for a bit of your time and attention, and not a very high priority one at that. So, what do you do practically when she reaches out? Maybe she writes a long apology email or just a casual, "Hey, been a while." You can decide to respond or not. There's no obligation. If ignoring her feels right because you're truly done, that's fine. But if you do respond, or even meet up, set boundaries in your mind. This isn't a romantic reunion. This is closure on your terms, if anything. Keep the interaction short and to the point. If she asks how you've been, you can honestly say, "I've been good." You don't need to brag or list your accomplishments to show off. That still comes from needing her approval. And you definitely don't need to share any vulnerabilities or memories. She lost that privilege. Don't be cruel, just be indifferent. If she apologizes, you can say, "I appreciate it," but you don't need to dwell on it. If she hints at meeting up another time or staying in touch, you can smile and say something non-committal like, "Take care of yourself," and leave it at that. The goal is to convey that you're fine, and whether she's in your life or not is no big deal to you. It's when you carry yourself like this that the full weight of regret often hits her. The moment a man truly moves on, when he no longer cares if she returns or not, that's usually when she truly understands what she lost. But by then, you, the strong and stoic man, are beyond her reach. Remind yourself, especially if you feel temptation to fall back into old patterns. They always return when I stop caring. And by the time she does, you won't need or want her the same way ever again. 7. The ultimate power move: indifference. So what does all this growth, control, and detachment add up to? It leads to the ultimate state of mind: pure indifference. The final and greatest power move isn't getting her to come back. It's reaching the point where you genuinely couldn't care less if she does. Think about that for a second. Many broken-hearted men secretly keep a flame of hope alive. They might move on externally, date others, focus on work, but deep down, they're constantly checking if she's noticed, if she's sorry yet. They think victory is the day she says, "I made a mistake." But real victory is when that day could come and it wouldn't even matter to you. When her regret or her pleas would be met with a shrug because you've emotionally checked out. Indifference is the ultimate freedom. It means there is no emotional charge when it comes to her. You're not angry. You're not in love. You're not bitter. You feel nothing in particular. And nothing is terrifying to someone who expects to have some effect on you. Indifference says, "You have no power over me at all." That is powerful. Reaching indifference is a process. By now, you've gone through pain. You've rebuilt yourself. You've practiced detachment. Little by little, you've chipped away at the significance she once held. Until one day, you wake up and realize that the thought of her barely crosses your mind, and when it does, it doesn't hurt anymore. Maybe you even feel a bit of gratitude that she left, because look at the man you've become as a result. That's when you know you're truly over it. A truly indifferent man doesn't need to prove he's moved on. He just has. He doesn't stalk her social media. He doesn't ask friends about her. He doesn't secretly hope she'll text. He honestly doesn't care either way. This isn't apathy towards life in general. This is specifically about her no longer being a factor in your decision-making or emotional well-being. Now, life is funny, and sometimes when you reach this stage, the universe likes to test you. As we said, she might reach out again or try to provoke a reaction somehow. It could be as subtle as liking one of your posts, or as blatant as trying to make you jealous with another guy in front of you. She's effectively checking, are there any cracks in his armor? Can I still make him react? But your armor is no longer just a front. It's solid steel, forged by genuine healing. So you give her nothing back. She posts a picture with someone new, you don't bat an eye. In fact, you might not even see it, because you're not checking. She sends a little message or comment, you leave it be, or respond with a simple emoji or a single-word answer if civility requires. She tries to get some gossip through friends about you. Those friends report back that you're doing great and didn't really talk about her at all. All of this will come back to her, and it will enforce the reality you are truly gone. And for her, that is what hurts the most. It's not just that you're silent. It's that you truly don't care anymore. She has effectively become a stranger to you. Remember when she believed she held a special place in your heart? Indifference tells her that place is empty now. It tells her that in the story of your life, she was a chapter that is ended, not the climax or the happily ever after. Indifference is also the pinnacle of self-mastery. It means you have mastered your emotions to the point that you're not ruled by past attachments or fears. You've cultivated a life so engaging and fulfilling that whether or not she's a part of it is irrelevant. You're focused on bigger things, your goals, your values, your present and future. Crucially, this indifference isn't an act. It's the real state you've achieved. You're not faking that you don't care. You genuinely don't. You're not secretly harboring hope or resentment. You've let it all go. If someone told you today that she's begging to get back together, you'd honestly feel nothing much. Maybe a slight ego boost or just mild amusement, but your heart wouldn't leap. You might even say, "No thanks," without any internal struggle, because you've outgrown that desire. Most people never reach this level with their past hurts. They keep a little shrine of memory and pain tucked away. But you are not most people, not anymore. You are the man who used pain as fuel, who learned to be silent and strong, who turned the focus inward and built an unshakable foundation. That's why you are now unstoppable. When you are indifferent, she has absolutely no leverage. There's nothing she can do to affect you because you need nothing from her. You're no longer angry, so she can't bait you into a fight. You're no longer sad, so she can't play on your sympathy. You're no longer in love, so she can't lure you with false hope. You are simply beyond her. At this point, the whole game that began with her leaving is over, and you won by opting out. The prize you gained is not having her back. It's having yourself back, stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever. The goal was never to make her feel bad or to wait for her apology. The goal was to reach a place where it didn't matter if she apologized or not, where your life is full and satisfying with or without anyone from the past. If you've embraced everything up to this point, then congratulations, you've essentially won. The outcome with her is irrelevant now. You've built a life on your terms. Keep this lesson close to your heart. Indifference is my greatest weapon. 8. The world is yours, not hers. For too long, you might have lived as if the world, your world, belonged to her. Think back on it. You gave her so much power that your every day was centered around her wants and needs. Your thoughts revolved around making her happy. Your schedule bent to accommodate her. Your self-worth was entangled with how she saw you. It was as though you handed her the keys to your life and said, "Here you drive." No more. Now you take those keys back. You realize that your life was never meant to be given away like that. It was always yours to lead. It's time to reclaim your time, your energy, your focus, everything. The world is yours, not hers, and it's been waiting for you to step up and take charge. Consider how much of yourself you invested trying to please her. How many opportunities did you pass up, or compromises did you make in order to cater to her? How often did you silence your own desires or ignore your own goals because you were afraid of losing her or making her upset? And what did that sacrifice earn you in the end? You ended up feeling lost and drained. The more you tried to make her your focus, the more you lost sight of who you are. That cycle ends now, permanently. The moment you shift that focus back onto yourself, you begin to step into a new kind of power. No more anxiously waiting for a text that might never come. No more scrolling her profile to decipher hidden meanings in her posts. No more sleepless nights wondering who she might be spending time with. That chapter is over. Close the book. Now, the only thing that matters is your mission, your goals, your ambitions, your happiness, the energy that you were wasting on monitoring someone else's life. Pour it back into building your own. And this is where the real magic happens. When a man stops living for someone else's approval and starts living for his own purpose, he becomes unstoppable. Instead of expending energy worrying about her, you channel it into self-improvement. You hit the gym and sculpt the body you've always wanted. You pursue that career opportunity or business idea that you put on hold. You spend time learning new skills, exploring new hobbies, traveling to new places. Whatever expands your horizons and brings you joy. You strengthen your mind and expand your knowledge. You invest in your empire, however that looks for you. As you do this, as you level up in every way, physically, mentally, financially, spiritually, something incredible happens. You start to realize that the whole narrative has flipped. You used to think you had to chase someone to make your life complete. Now you see you were never meant to chase at all. You were meant to become so fulfilled and improved that others feel compelled to chase you. And yes, she will likely notice this transformation at some point. Word gets around. or she'll directly see the difference in you. She will hear about your successes, or see the confidence in your demeanor if you ever cross paths. And that's when the roles truly reverse. The man who once put her on a pedestal, now he is standing on a pedestal of his own making, and she's left looking up, wondering if she could ever be part of that world again. The man who used to wait by the phone hoping to hear from her, now his phone is lighting up with calls and messages, and not just from her. From friends, from admirers, from new potential partners, from business opportunities, from life, calling you to live it fully. This is often a reality that most men dream of but few achieve because they don't fully let go of the past. But you are achieving it. And one day, if it hasn't happened already, you'll have this crystal clear realization: she doesn't belong in my world anymore. Not out of spite or anger, but simply because you've grown beyond who you were when she was the center of your world. The version of you that loved her so desperately, that version is gone. You shed that skin when you rebuilt yourself. The new you has outgrown her and everything about that old relationship. And that's okay. It doesn't diminish what you had. It simply means that was a chapter, and you've turned the page to a new one. In this new chapter, you understand that she was a lesson. She taught you something about yourself, about life, and that lesson propelled you into your evolution. In a way, you can even be grateful it happened, because without that heartbreak, you might never have pushed yourself to become this excellent. She was the catalyst that forced you to wake up and realize your worth. Now, firmly grounded in your self-worth, you see the truth. You are the prize. Always were. A man who knows his value doesn't beg for others to recognize it. He doesn't chase after anyone hoping to be chosen. He chooses himself, and in doing so, invites others to come along, if they're worthy and if it aligns with his journey. If not, he's perfectly fine on his own, forging ahead. You don't need to beg for loyalty or love. You don't need to chase people who walk away. You don't wait around for someone to realize your value. You create value in yourself and in your life every day. You build and build until the life you have is so rich and satisfying that it's an honor for someone else to be let in, not a favor they're doing for you. You now move like a king, not in how you treat others. A true king is gracious and just, but in how you carry yourself. Shoulders back, head high, fully aware of what you bring to the table. You think like a conqueror, seeing opportunities everywhere, overcoming obstacles, and not letting any single loss define you. And you genuinely no longer care who out there might regret losing you. You're too busy winning. Winning in your career, winning in your personal growth, winning in health, in friendships, whatever winning means to you. When you're focused on these victories, any regrets others have about mistreating you or leaving you are just background noise. Here's the beautiful irony. The moment you stopped caring about her, you unlocked the ability to become the man you were always meant to be. She thought she was your destination, that all your roads led to her. But she was wrong. She was a detour, a tough one, but one that ultimately put you on the correct path. This realization is your awakening. It's like you've been asleep, dreaming that you needed her to have a complete life, and now you're awake and realize your life is your own. This is your rise, and nothing can hold you down now. You can stand tall, look in the mirror, and say with confidence, I am the prize. Never again will you forget that. 9. The last laugh belongs to the Stoic. At the end of this journey, you've learned a fundamental truth. The best revenge is no revenge at all. It's simply living well, It's proving to yourself that you are everything you ever needed to be. It's becoming the man you promised yourself you would become. A man who doesn't need to flaunt or fight or fret to prove his worth. A man who moves with quiet purpose and lets the results do the talking. The last laugh always belongs to the Stoic man who has mastered his emotions. Why? Because he's the one who truly doesn't care anymore. Not as a facade, but in reality. And when you don't care, you cannot be defeated or hurt by the games people play. In the beginning, she might have thought she easily replaced you. She figured you'd be just another ex-boyfriend in her past. Maybe even an anecdote she'd mention casually. But now, picture her perspective after all this time. She looks at you, from afar most likely because she's not truly in your life anymore, and she sees a man transformed. A man who didn't just move on. He evolved. The person she knew, the one who would have done anything for her, who was perhaps a bit insecure, maybe too forgiving, maybe overly available. That person has faded into history. In his place is someone new, an unshakable, self-assured force of a man, one who is immune to her attempts to elicit any reaction. You do not seek her out, you do not chase her shadow, and you do not even react to her provocations or reminiscing. And that reality is what will haunt her the most. It's not your anger that will haunt her. Anger would mean you're still emotionally invested. It's not even your initial silence. Silence can be temporary. It's your enduring indifference that truly sinks in. She finally understands that nothing she does will elicit a meaningful response from you. You've simply moved beyond her. A Stoic man, by definition, doesn't allow anything external to disrupt his inner peace. That's you now. You don't let your emotions dictate your actions. You let your principles and goals do that. You don't engage in battles that don't matter. You save your energy for building your life. When faced with drama or manipulation, you don't get pulled in. You observe. You decide if it's worth any response. And often, you decide it's not, and walk away. Then you continue about your day, your month, your year, building your kingdom, whatever kingdom means to you, your career, your home, your family, your legacy. So she might still check your social media now and then, even if you've long since unfollowed her. She might hear your name in conversations, perhaps friends mentioning your successes or how well you're doing. Maybe she even tries to reach out indirectly or directly, just to feel a little bit of that old connection. She is on the outside looking in, watching a story that she's no longer a part of. But here's something crucial. You have already won. And it's not because you managed to make her jealous with your new car or new girlfriend or anything petty. It's not even because she regrets leaving you. That's just a side effect. You've won because you claimed your life back. You found your strength, your independence, your happiness. You realize that your peace of mind is the greatest success, and mastering yourself is the greatest power. She thought she had power over you once. She thought you'd be stuck on her, waiting eternally for closure or another chance. But you proved that your world doesn't revolve around her. It revolves around your growth and values. You disappeared from her life and reappeared in your own, in full force. In doing so, you became the kind of man who doesn't dwell on what's lost, but rather cherishes what's gained. Wisdom, resilience, and genuine confidence. Now, to you, she is just another ghost from the past. Perhaps you remember the good times with a gentle smile and the bad times with a shrug, but there's no strong emotion there anymore. She's a chapter in your book, a meaningful chapter perhaps, but one that ended and made way for greater chapters. She's not a central figure in the story of who you are today. and that a lack of significance is the final thing she has to face. Not revenge, not dramatic confrontations, but the reality that your life is full and hers no longer has a stake in it. That is absolute freedom for you, and it's the final defeat for any hold she imagined she had. From here on out, you understand that looking back serves no purpose. You've taken the lessons, and now the past is a distant country you left behind. You don't need to go back, and you don't need to get even. You're free, truly free. This freedom, this state of not needing anything from the past, makes you invincible to those old wounds. You carry scars, sure, but they are marks of pride now, not pain. You understand on a deep level that the greatest success isn't about money or women or status. It's about inner peace. Being able to wake up content, to go to sleep untroubled, that is success. And the greatest power is self-mastery, being the master of your mind and heart, rather than a slave to turbulent emotions or someone else's actions. So let her wonder what you're doing tonight. Let her regret her decisions when she's alone with her thoughts. Let her sit in the silence that now exists because you're not there to fill it. None of that is your concern anymore. You, on the other hand, are moving forward with purpose. Because great men do not stand still in the ruins of a relationship. They rebuild and move on to greater things. They don't look back in longing. They look forward in anticipation. They don't remain chained to the past. They break those chains and use them to climb higher. And now here you are, at the end of one story and at the beginning of a new one. If you've listened to all of this, truly absorbed it, you know what you need to do and how you need to live. You've transformed your mindset from one of weakness to one of strength, from seeking approval to owning your worth. She was never the destination. She was the catalyst that forced you to find yourself. She unintentionally did you a favor by leaving because it pushed you to become the man you are now. So, step forward and do so with confidence. You're leaving behind the version of you that needed someone else to complete him. You're stepping into the reality that you are complete on your own. This is your rebirth as a truly untouchable man, a man on a mission who needs nothing from those who doubted him, who commands respect not by demand but by presence and integrity. As you continue your journey, you'll find the world starts to bend in your favor. Opportunities present themselves to a man who is ready and who isn't distracted by unnecessary worries. You'll attract genuine connections, people who respect the man you've become. Life just gets better when you approach it with the strength and calm of Stoicism. Let her regret. Let her wonder. Let her sit with the consequences of her choice. That's her journey, and it's not your problem. You are on to better things. Keep walking forward, eyes on the horizon, because that's where your future lies, not behind you. You can now confidently say to yourself, I am unstoppable, because you always were once you decided to be. And never forget, in the grand story of all this, the last laugh always belongs to the stoic man who learned to let go.